Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Hi-Fi Preschool and Kids Weekly Training Podcast. I am here with Kayla and Rachel, and we are ready to dive in to our fourth session here in the month of June. We have been all month long teaching preschoolers, oh, wow, God made me special. And with kids, it is piece by piece. I am uniquely designed. We hope that you have been enjoying seeing preschoolers and kids grow in their understanding of the fact that God made them special and unique. And this week, we get to teach the truth. God made me valuable. And we'll be doing that through the parable of the lost sheep from Luke chapter 15. But before we get into kind of diving deep into the Bible story, I want to ask Kayla and Rachel a fun question. And by the way, Isaac has brought this up before, and I think it's great. This first question, of course, is a fun way for all of you to get to know us more, but it's also a great question that you could use to engage with other leaders at your church, to engage with kids, to engage with families. They're just fun, get to know you questions. So, Kayla and Rachel, what is one of your most prized possessions and what makes it so valuable to you?
I'd say probably my engagement ring. It's from my grandmother. It was her
Aw.
engagement ring. And then my mom wore it my whole childhood. So I remember sitting in church and seeing it on the hand. And so I had said, someday if I ever get married, I would love to get to wear that ring. And so it's not anything fancy. It's just really special to me.
Oh, that is really sweet. That's incredible. I had no idea. That's awesome.
Oh man, I gotta pick something else. I was gonna say the same thing, but I am recently engaged and had for different reasons. So that's amazing, Rachel. I would say that one of my most prized possessions is similarly, Rachel, is family heirloom jewelry. And or just family heirloom things in general. One of the things coming to mind that I really love is my dad wrote a book about his life. And so
Hmm.
it has all of these questions in it, and it just walks through the story of his life. And it's a really sweet keepsake. And so I love getting to look through it and just hear his stories through his voice and through his own words. And so it's something that's really special to me now. And I know it will be something that I really treasure for years to come.
Oh, that is so sweet. My possession is definitely way more recent, I'd say, than probably both of yours. It's not anything inherited, but I live in a Habitat for Humanity home that I got to be a part of building. And, as a single mom, owning my own home feels like one of my greatest accomplishments ever. And so I actually got a keychain when I moved in that's got the Habitat logo and the day that I moved in. And it is just one of my most prized possessions because every time I look at it, I think about this incredible God story of providing this home for me and my boys. And so, um, what's great about all of our possessions is that we know that they are valuable to us personally. Like if I had Rachel's ring, it wouldn't mean the same to me. And Kayla, if I had your book about your dad, I'd be like, what is this? I don't understand. And that's one of the incredible things about value. We have that phrase, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I think value is definitely also in the eye of the beholder. And today we are talking about the truth that God made us valuable. And so when we teach the parable of the lost sheep, oftentimes this parable is used simply to talk about salvation. How are we talking about it this week to really draw attention to the truth, the fact that God made us valuable?
Yeah. I love this parable. It's
Mm.
so good, and I mean, not that other things in the Bible aren't good, but if I had a choice between reading Luke 15 or Leviticus 15, I'm probably going with Luke. But all that to say, this is such a sweet and strong story that really teaches us about value. Yes, salvation, that there's the lost sheep, and it's the shepherd that goes out and seeks the sheep and brings him home,
Hmm.
but it's that seeking, that who's taking that step. And it often reminds me, when kids are in a group setting, or even adults, to be honest. I'm an introvert. This is not always my natural inclination, but we're in a group setting. Who's making the first step to go say, hey, I see you. I'm coming after
Mm,
you. I want to talk to you.
hmm.
That's a really hard barrier sometimes for kids to cross over. And when I think about this parable, I see it's the sheep who wanders off, and it is the shepherd who finds so much value in this sheep that says, I am going after this sheep. I'm
Hmm.
looking everywhere. I'm leaving this other flock of sheep. They're going to be here in the pen. They'll be fine. I'm going after the one. And
Yeah.
so it is that intentional taking the step, that pursuit of the sheep that conveys the value. And I think that
Hmm.
that is what we're really emphasizing in this month or in this week. Is really talking about like God made us valuable, and when we are lost, when we stray, when we step away, like it is God who's pursuing us, who's coming after us. And so I think that's one of the ways that we get to really convey this idea of value and how much God values us, is that He's pursuing us, He's coming after
Hmm.
us, and when He gets the sheep, He celebrates, right? He
Hmm.
brings all of His friends together and says, let's celebrate. And that's what God does with us when we trust in Him for salvation, is He celebrates, because He loves us and He values
Yeah.
us.
It's so great. And I think too, it's really great for us to help kids talk through this story a little bit. If any of our kids, and granted, there could be somebody listening that maybe they do live in a sheep herding community. I don't know that we have those really anymore, at least in the United States. There might be some in Ireland still, but if they were standing with a group of 99 sheep, they probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference between one sheep and another, and definitely not notice that one is gone, but a shepherd would. In the same way, God doesn't just see a giant blob of kids at church on a Sunday, a giant blob of people at church, a giant blob in our community, a giant blob in our city. He sees individuals. He loves individuals and he values individuals. He values you, Kayla. He values you, Rachel. Like every single one he knows and he values by name. And I just think that that is such an encouraging even place to start that salvation conversation. Knowing that it's not just like that Jesus died for you, but Jesus died for you, Rachel, because he loves you and he sees you and he knows you and he values you. So I think that's going to be great. In a world where we often feel like we have to earn that kind of approval and notice, or we have to like prove our value and our worth, Rachel, how do you see this story specifically helping preschoolers and kids, both now and for the future, know where their value lies?
Yeah, this story is incredible to think about our value because in our world, value and relationships are often transactional. What can you do for me? Um, what can you give me? If you do this, then I'll do that. And that's just not the way of God's kingdom. And it's not the way He sees us. And how instead of getting the right grades to be valuable, or being funny enough to be valuable to friends, or being good enough at sports to be valuable to your team, we don't have to worry about that because God has given us value because we're valuable to Him. We are His. So our value is fixed, it's not earned. There's no transaction that can take place to change our value. He values us so much that He sent His Son Jesus for us. And so I think it gives us such hope right now, knowing that it doesn't matter what others think of us. It doesn't matter what we can offer or what someone else can give us, because our value is fixed and it's not going to change. But in the future, it's really powerful also to be able to say, I can rest because I'm valuable to God, and I can live out the purposes He has for me because I don't have to do what the world says is important or the world says is valuable. I can live out how I'm created to be.
Yeah, that is so good, Rachel. And I want to encourage every listener right now, because this is so countercultural. we can't expect preschoolers and kids to get it the first time we tell them. This is one of those things that we have to continue to remind them about because it is so different than what everyone else around them says and believes. This fact that your value is not anything that you earn, it's not anything that you prove, it just is because of who God is. And so I would encourage everyone to continue to find ways to weave in this language about your value and identity even as we move into different months and different truths. Like, this is such an important thing for preschoolers and kids to understand and learn now, so that, as Rachel said, they become these adults who are following Jesus. There's this rest and this peace that comes when you are confident in your value and identity in Him. So, Hi-Fi includes so many opportunities to help kids build relationships with friends, leaders, influencers, and pastors. We like to call that flip. How do you feel like those relationships can help preschoolers and kids know that God made them valuable?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. I think that with any relationship, there is consistency that
Mm,
is really important in those relationships, and there is just time. It may be really cliche, and I heard it a long time ago, but like kids spell love Time.
mm,
And so the ways that we are as a leader or an influencer, a friend, or our pastors, um, the opportunities that we take the time to really engage with kids helps them see their value.
mm,
And so as we build those relationships, I think just the time that we get to spend with them really conveys the value that we see in them, and also conveying that same value that we are saying God sees you as valuable. It's a lot
mm,
harder for a kid to learn from us, hey, God says you're valuable, if they don't think we even actually value them. And so
mm.
the ways that we're able to spend time with them, the ways that we're able to communicate with them, even in how we communicate, how we correct. So just helping kids see that we value them, I think communicates a lot about when we're talking about how God values them.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah, and I think kind of going off of something you said, Crystal, was that they may not get it the first time we tell them. And
Hmm.
I think that's why it's so important that they have all of these relationships, and not just um, one relationship with a leader or one relationship with a friend, but they need to have um, all the relationships within a flip relationship, because then they can speak into their value and they can hear it with different voices in different ways. And like Kayla said, be shown through their time, attention, and words that they really do have value, and they're not just empty promises, but these are true things about how God created them.
Yeah. What's great to know too is like we get to teach preschoolers and kids, you are valued by God and you are valued at church. You are seen, you are known, you are loved, you are cared about. And so, listeners, I want to make sure that you know that we do offer you a Flip It connection every single month. We are getting to the end of June, but you still have another week to do the Flip It Connection if you haven't already. This month's Flip It Connection is helping kids build relationships with pastors, and it's called Pastor This or That. Really fun, really easy to do. All of those Flip It Connections that we offer every month are meant to be simple, they're meant to be fun, but especially, again, engaging and helping kids build these relationships within the church where they can further see and know that they are valued and they are loved. So definitely check that out in advanced planning if you haven't already. And if you have, you can be excited about the one that we'll have next month in July. Well, that's all that we have for today. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all that you are doing to teach kids and using Hi-Fi in order to just build dynamic, incredible connections and relationships where kids are growing in their faith and their relationship with God and others. We are so excited. Next week, of course, we are going to have our fifth week. It's going to be a hooray day, game changer week. And so make sure you tune into the podcast again. And until then, we are praying for you and we hope that you have a great week. Bye.